Yo, in today's episode of Under the Surface, we are trying to look into tournament formats and potential competitive environment that can possibly emerge in the Bazaar. So without further ado, let's dive under the surface. Do you have any ideas how a tournament could be played?
Like right now, it's a really hard thing to do. Like the only thing I can really think of is maybe do one like run with each hero and like casual mode and then tally up how many wins the people get, something of that nature.
Yeah.
Uh,
So something like my outbid idea, right?
Essentially.
Yeah, because I had this. Well, it all started with cash grab actually. Before the game even came out, I think you're familiar with the Bazaar cash grab.
Yeah.
Bazaar Cash Grab was meant to be a tournament format before the game even came out. In general, it meant that you had to play one run with each hero, and then you had one additional run with the hero of your choosing. And at that point, we were sure that at the end of the run, we were going to get some number of gems. However, as it turns out, we don't get any gems for the runs. My idea was to just sum up the gems that you got in those 4 runs, and that was your score. But since we don't get any gems at the end of the run, that sort of measure doesn't really exist. So yes, adding the wins from your runs actually makes sense. And I was also thinking about having your leftover prestige as sort of small points. Like if a tie happens, that would be a way to determine who's the winner.
Yeah, I really like that because the tie could happen pretty easily, probably.
Yes. However, well, since you sort of have to play those tournament games in the casual mode, because if you were to play them in the ranked queue, you need to pay for them, right? And having like upfront sort of cost just for the possibility of playing in the tournament, I'm not sure if I like that.
No, I don't think that'll be good because first of all, everyone might not be able to pay it. I don't know. Maybe you want to do something a little bit different while you're trying to play in a tournament versus what you would want in a, typical ranked run where you're try harding.
I would suppose that if you were to participate in a tournament, you would try hard even more. At least that's my understanding of tournament play. But you need to pay the cost for entering the ranked if you were to play tournament games in a ranked queue. Our idea of playing 4 runs just as a one tournament match. You play your 4 runs and your opponent also plays those 4 runs. That's 4 tickets each for just one match.
Yeah.
If you were to pay for those gems to enter the queue, that's $4. I guess $4 isn't a lot, but if you were to play a lot of those matches, that would, I think, stack up pretty quickly.
You really don't want to like gatekeep a tournament either, So I
Mhm.
think going in casual, the only different thing is you're facing a different pool of opponents, and in casual your opponents are going to be easier or likely going to be
Mhm.
easier. So I guess that's something to take in mind, but I still think casual mode is the better bet. I have another type of format too that could possibly work. I've seen other people talk about, although it's not exactly as competitive, I guess.
I see.
I've seen some discussion around either bounty based like tournaments. So like the person who can like gain the most shield in the fight, or the person who can, I don't know, like there's certain goals in mind rather than just win 4 runs or whatever. Also, I've seen like bingo style tournament type things.
To be fair, what you just described is sort of like, it could be a bingo square, like have the highest shield, right?
Yeah. I think the bounty thing would work more with point. Like I saw it mentioned before on the Discord, like it would be like a point system.
Mhm.
So like you get X amount of points for doing this, and maybe you have like so many runs to face off against your opponents.
I mean, that's an idea, though bingo tournament system seems like a more fun side than competitive side.
Definitely. It's definitely not like the best against the best. It's more of just trying to get certain things. So,
Yes, so it's your more of a test of knowledge and piloting skills, but your objective is not to win as much as possible, it's just to achieve certain feats, which isn't the same.
yeah.
To reduce the number of games needed to be played, I was thinking about doing well, it's not really a Swiss round, but if we were to take this 4-run format, we would be able to make a first day of the tournament sort of free-for-all. So everybody has 4 games to play. You sum up the wins, you sum up the prestige. Then there is a sort of table with all the contestants. Let's say out of 64 people, top 16 qualifies to the second day. And then on the second day, people again play their 4 matches. And then out of those 16 people, top 8 advances to the day 3 or even top 4. The idea is at that point, you don't need to do a free-for-all, but you could make 1v1 matches. You pair them, sort of like in a regular card game tournament. Well, then, if you have to play 4 matches against another opponent, well, that's going to stack up time really quickly. The problem is, every match in a professional environment would need to be streamed. Audience needs to see that. So that's 4 runs for every match. At the quarterfinals, that's 4 matches. So that's 16 games. Even if every run takes like 45 minutes, that's going to be a long, long time before all the matches are complete. And then you have to go from quarterfinals to semifinals and then to finals. Quarterfinals are going to be 16 runs. Then semifinals are going to be 8 runs. And then 4 runs for the final. I think you catch my drift.
Yeah, and I really like the 1v1 aspect of it within the tournament, because I've seen a lot of people complain about this too, and I kind of get what they mean, where things feel a little bit detached when you're just doing runs and you don't really see or feel anything from your opponent. So you can know, like, hey, I'm going up against so and so who's like the best Vanessa player. So I gotta really you know what I mean? I gotta really lock in here or whatever. I don't know. It does add a little more like competitiveness to it that you're not gonna get otherwise.
Mm-hmm. I like this idea of 1v1s, but on the other hand, still we need to like count the minutes simply. If we take each run as 45 minutes, that's 3 hours per match. And if we have 4 matches in the quarterfinals, that's totaling to 12 hours. So in my opinion, that's never happening in one day. Like we can do like 2 6-hour days in terms of like watchable experience. Because I don't expect you to stay for like at the front of the screen for 12 hours just watching people battle it out.
Yeah, that's a little insane. I guess the other way you could fix it is not add 1v1s till later, right?
Yeah, this allows us to minimize the time that we need to spend while actually battling. You can just hop on between the POVs of various players and comment on them. However, if we have 64 players, for example, then you have 64 players to go through as a caster. When you go to your 5th player, you have already forgotten what the first player was playing, right? And then you have 60 more players to go through.
In the Bazaar, it's important to kind of see how a run develops too, you know, versus it's not like a traditional card game where it's like you have a deck and you know what type of deck they're playing and what they should be doing, I guess. It's a little more involved.
Exactly. This 1v1 idea is probably the cleanest at this time, but its worst drawback is that it takes a long, long time to finish. Even like 4-player tournament with this 1v1 situation is going to take, well, 9 hours. 4-player tournament takes 9 hours with my setup, counting runs as 45 minutes.
Would it be intended that if people are 1v1ing, is it like person A and person B are both playing Vanessa right now, or is it's just like they finish it throughout the day?
I envisioned it as both contestants are queuing as the same hero at the same time, so audience can see both perspectives at the same time and, you know, compare how both players approach the run. And of course, the 4th run, that doesn't really have to be the same, right? But on the other hand, if we remove that 4th run completely and just leave 3 mandatory runs, then we also reduce the time of each match, right?
Yeah, I really like the idea of the 4th run though, because it feels like you can really, like, your skill really shines through if you're like a super good like dually player or something, you know. So
yes,
but I think it could make sense to remove it for sure.
I don't know. Like, the game is so fun, but I don't really feel like we have tools necessary right now to make a tournament happen.
Yeah, we definitely don't. And they've kind of made it clear that like that will be a thing at some point, but it's not a priority. So, which makes sense, but also like I feel like tournaments would go crazy in this game. So once we have everything, I think it's going to be a big deal.
Right, but still, they also need to find a suitable tournament format, right? To be fair, we are not professional game designers, so we we might not be exactly the people to go for those answers. If our whole community of players struggles to find a reasonable idea for a tournament format, I think Reynat and the team are going to be challenged by this in a sense. It's not going to be easy to find that solution, and they need to find it because we don't need to find it really, because we are not responsible for the game, and they are.
That's true. I got the impression from some of Reynad's discussions that he was not, he was going to let the community figure this out, but that might just depend on as things go on.
I mean, to be fair, like my cash grab idea before the game released got Reynard's stamp of approval. Like he literally said that he liked my idea, and I have screenshots to prove it. If community finds a fun way to make tournaments happen, I think Reynard will be more than happy to adapt it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it'll be a while before we get anything workable like in game though with it for sure.
Yeah.
Especially considering they just extended the closed beta. So
Oh, yes.
I really think the tournaments should stay mostly async. I've seen other people have different opinions. Like a lot of people say they want it to be more, I guess, Hearthstone Battlegroundsy for tournaments, and I really hate that idea. But I'll just leave it at that.
I wouldn't mind tournaments being lobby-based system. If this is going to allow us for the games to, end in a timely manner, and then if it's going to somehow help with the viewing experience, then I'm all for it. And besides, if you are playing at the top level, I'm not sure if you need hour and a half for each run. And besides, I think you shouldn't have that much time, because adding a little bit of time constraints can add a little bit of, excitement.
I guess as long as the time requirements are somewhat generous and it's not like, hurry up and finish your turn sort of thing, for the
Yeah.
average tournament player.
I
But
mean,
I would be okay with it under that sense, I guess.
45 minutes per run, I think, is good enough.
Yeah, I think that would be reasonable.
If you, our greatest viewers on the planet, have any idea how to, improve our ideas, besides if you have any ideas of your own how to make a tournament in the Bazaar happen, please make sure to leave a comment down below, because first of all, we really need those ideas. We really need a tournament in this game. And second of all, commenting, liking, and subscribing will really help us. So please do that on your way out. And thank you for watching another episode of Under the Surface.
See you on my channel on Thursday.
Yes, thank you again, and bye!
See ya.